Well, hello everybody and welcome to the Restart Reignite Your Plexus Business call. I'm so excited that you've all joined me here today. I am Tricia Howard, Emerald Ambassador with Plexus Worldwide. We're going to get a lot of information packed in to a short period of time. So I hope you all have pen and paper and are going to think about, as we go through the different slides and we talk through some things, I want you guys to take time to really not only just write notes on what I'm saying, but really whatever comes to mind to you on what action items you need to do next. The point of this phone call or this training, if you're on it on a computer, I hope you are on your phone, that you're able to see this, is really to get you excited again. Often we get started with this business, things happen really, really fast, we're super passionate, and then things maybe wane a little bit. Maybe we're not posting as often, maybe we're not getting as much excitement from our immediate group of friends and family, and so we don't post as often, or we're not talking to as many people, and then what happens? Things start to slide backwards a little bit. And this is a chance for you guys to just pump it up to the next step, to really get motivated, excited, passionate about what it is we do, okay? So I want, again, get you guys to get a pen and paper, make sure you're ready, take some notes. This will be available afterwards by recording. I will go ahead and make sure I post that tonight. It'll be on my YouTube channel, as well as I'll have it for you guys in the event so that you guys can grab it easily and share it with your teams. So I want to thank you again for being part of this call tonight. You guys are one of the few that's excited about taking it to that next level. A lot of times what we see missing is that people aren't engaged, and this is your chance to get re-engaged, right? Restart, reignite, re-engage. So I want you guys to focus on what you can do next steps, and focus on what it is you can do as soon as you get off of this call, what you're going to do to make a difference in your business now, okay? So we've got all of our upline, so exciting in Kona, and I don't know about you guys, but I am just loving all of the pictures. And I've been really blessed to, even though I'm not able to go this time, I wasn't able to get the time off from work, I have my PFFs, my Plexus Friends Forever, taking pictures with my photo on a stick, which has been kind of fun. So, you know, I am really excited to be there next year, and I hope that many of you that are on this call are aiming to do so and be there with me. Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started into the meat of this call. What I want you all to do is that if you have questions, I'm going to go through them at the end of the call, so put them in your chat. I'm going to keep everybody muted just so we can keep this focused and concise so that we can get through as much of this information and get you guys back to doing what it is you need to do with your families or your business this evening, okay? This call, this training, I like to say I like to give people their vegetables a little bit more than dessert. This is kind of going to be a little bit of that kick in the pants, so to speak, okay? I don't want anyone to walk away from this feeling convicted. I want you to walk away from this call feeling as though there's something you need to change. I want you to look deep inside yourself. If there's a behavior or a pattern that you see that you need to change, do it. It's not a big deal. Nobody is going to look at you differently. Nobody's going to judge you. Just take this call, take the information we've given you, and really kind of use it to make yourself a better Plexus ambassador. So first and foremost, the only person that's responsible for your success is you. The reason I made this the first slide is because I'm hearing often when I talk with people in my downline and my sidelines, reading through chats, there's a lot of conversation that's going outward, not inward. It's not who your upline is. It's not who your downline is. It's not who your power partner is. It's not who you have in your immediate circle. It's what you choose to do each and every day that's going to make you successful. When I sat in Jules training in July, there were so many Jules in that group who basically said some of their upline didn't even exist in this business anymore. They'd left, but they still made it to Jules status. What does that mean? That means that they didn't use any reason or excuse to not be successful. So what I'm going to put on you today is if you have a story about why you're not successful, get it gone. Because the reason that you aren't successful right now is the story you're telling yourself about why you don't have it. I don't have enough friends. I don't have a big enough network. Dawn Andrews, who is my power partner, posted live yesterday from Kona. And one of the things I loved that she brought up was she talked about the fact that it isn't that she had this huge network. I mean, she's on the verge of Sapphire right now. She didn't have a huge network. She was in a sorority in college, but she had very few Facebook friends. She now has 5,000 Facebook friends. Do you know how she got there? She took action. She was actively pursuing people to be part of her network. People are not going to fall from the sky, everyone. You have to aggressively go out and find people to be in your network. They're not going to run around. Nobody's going, oh my gosh, I can't wait to be on Trisha's team. I would love to think that about myself, but it's not the case. I had to go and find them. Now, don't get me wrong. When you first start in this business and you first start posting about Plexus, people are going to be interested. They're going to be intrigued. They're going to be wondering, what's she doing? What's he doing? Why is he suddenly talking about this pink drink? What is she talking about, this edge stuff? And they're going to come out to you and they're going to ask. But the majority of the people that you are going to come in contact with are going to be waiting for you to make that first initial step. For those of you who don't know my story, I came across Plexus purely by accident. I've been in direct sales the majority of my life. I don't do well with idle time. So I've always had something that I've done on the side. So I've had a direct sale business, or I've done 3 jobs at one point in time. I used to do weddings and funerals where I sang. I was very, very busy, very active. I don't, like I said, like to sit around doing nothing. So in addition to working a 60-hour work week, I had 2 direct sale businesses I was playing around with. And I say playing because I certainly wasn't making any money at them, anything that was worth talking about. I just wanted the products for cheaper. But I was also admin of a direct sale group on Facebook. Now that group did contests every month. Now the person who happened to win in January was Lisa Klein, who happens to now be my sponsor. Lisa Klein was with another direct sale business. She won the January contest to get a party with this other business. But while we were discussing back and forth, she joined Plexus in January. And she was very excited about it and decided that she really needed to talk to me and get me to buy the product. I told her no. I don't even know how many times. I jokingly say it was at least a dozen. It could have even been more. Finally, I bought a 7-day trial pack to just get her to stop bugging me. The irony of that whole thing is she aggressively came and found me. Now, I weighed 194 pounds at the time. I was sick all the time. I'd coughed for 2 decades and nobody knew what was wrong with me. But somebody handed me a lifeline who didn't even know me. That is what I want you guys to walk away from this call with. Plexus is somebody's lifeline. And you, by not sharing it with the person you see at the grocery store, the person that's sitting across from you at work, the person standing behind you in line at CVS, the friend from high school, the friend from when you were 5 that you lived down the street from, you are doing them a disservice by not sharing them this lifeline. So you need to get rid of any story of who you don't know and who you don't have in your network, and think about who you do have in your network and go after them, okay? So again, most person that's responsible for your success is you. You reap what you sow. Now, I did take a couple of these slides from our Ambassador Bootcamp, and the reason that I did it because I felt they were very important. And sometimes when you're restarting and reboosting your business, you need to get back to basics. Sometimes we forget so much about what it was that made us successful. And every time we've been successful, you need to go back because being successful leaves clues. So if you look at a Celeste Gwen, if you look at Tamara Holloway, if you look at Christy White, what did they do to become successful? When you first started in this business and you started seeing success, what were you doing? And what aren't you doing now that you were doing then that you should put back into play? So you reap what you sow. Are you putting your efforts into this business? Are you kind of doing the business? Or are you aggressively going after it? You're going to hear me talk about aggressive. And what I mean by aggressive is not passive. You're not waiting for the skies to open up and people to come to you. You're not wishing that you're going to be in Kona next year. You are aggressively pursuing Kona. You are aggressively pursuing Terraneo Resort. You want to be a diamond, and you will do anything and everything to be there. That's what I mean. If you reap what you sow, think about that. If you kind of sow, you're going to kind of reap. If you aggressively sow, you're going to aggressively reap. Now, here's the key to that. Farmers sow even when they don't see that there is a rain in the future. They sow because that's what they're supposed to do. They do what they need to do every day, not just every other day, not just once a week, to make sure that they reap what it is they're sowing. So the first bullet point is knowledge is power. I really should change that because I prefer the phrase knowledge is potential power. And many of you who've been on any of my calls before know what I mean by this. The reason I say it's potential power is if you do not put into action what it is you learn, it isn't powerful. So you could be on this call, you could go, oh my gosh, Trisha said X, and I need to do that. But if you don't go and put it into action, you being on this call was a waste of your time. You have got to take whatever you learn and put some piece of it into action. Even if you read a book that isn't that great, or you listen to a call that isn't so great, but you walk away with either one idea that you can put into play or one idea you already knew that just got reaffirmed, it was worth your time. So you need to consistently sow into yourself knowledge that you're going to put into action. Ways to get knowledge: conference calls, training calls like we're doing right now, these Zoom calls. There are so many amazing Zoom calls out there. YouTube videos. My goodness, if you aren't already following so many of the diamonds and the emeralds and the sapphires that are already on YouTube, please go do so. We're going to get into a few names that you should follow in a little bit. Monthly opportunity meetings. There's going to be some in your area. Find them. You're going to see them online. Participate in them. Don't wait for excitement and passion to find you. Go find it. Be active in your team pages. Many of you have your own team pages and you are involved in other team pages. Participate. Be active in those. If you're active in those, your team is also going to see that you're active in those. And make sure, of course, that you're checking your back office for all of the updated resources that Plexus provides. For those of you who are new and getting started, for those of you who are restarting, and for those of you who just need to reignite, do not forget duplication. Duplication is the most important thing you can remember, because what you need to do is teach the people who are coming on board with you what to do. You do not want to spoon feed them. Think of a baby. In the beginning, you're going to spoon feed the baby, but when the baby's 5, they should be able to eat by themselves. Your new ambassadors will need to be spoon-fed in the beginning. Your new customers will need to be spoon-fed in the beginning. You need to stay close. You need to follow up with them. You need to stay continuously in contact with them, making sure that anything that needs to get tweaked or any questions can be addressed. That's why I put on here to make sure you have the new ambassador checklist and the success plan. If you do not have them, these two are both located in Pink Diamond Destiny in my group, and I believe they're also in Pink Diamonds. If they are not, I will make sure they're in Pink Diamonds, okay? You want to follow what we call Plex Celebrities on Facebook. And this is so you don't have to reinvent the wheel. When you're going to be posting on Facebook, when your team's going to be posting on Facebook, you want to make sure they know how to look these things up. You want to make sure they find their own posts, that they're not just regurgitating every post you've done, that they're looking at others, okay? So have them start looking for some of those Plex celebrities on Facebook. Have them get involved in testimony pages. You should be involved in testimony pages. You're going to also need to train and equip your ambassadors. Here's where I see many of the challenges that happen when people start to grow to a certain level and they stagnate. And the reason they stagnate is because they're doing too much for their team. See, it's really easy to do things for your team when you have a small team. But think big picture. If you have 1,000 people on your team,
Will you give me a cigarette, babe?
you are unable, whoever is unmuted, if you could mute yourself, that would be really great. Thank you so much. What you want to make sure is that if you are training them, that you're teaching them what to do next, okay? So when you get to a certain level and you've got 5 people on your team, like I was saying, it's really easy to do it all for them, to walk them through how to get their new ambassador signed up, to do it for, let me help you. Let me get into your back office. Let me show you how to do this. Oh, here's the information that you need. I found it for you on Facebook. What you're doing though, is you're basically clipping their wings and never letting them learn to fly. You need them to be able to fly. They need to know what to be able to do, because when they get their team, if you're doing it all for them, they're going to expect you to do it all for their ambassadors too. And let me tell you, it happens more often than you would think. And that's most of the conversations I get. I'm so frustrated. Nobody seems to want to do it. Nobody seems to want to do what they need to get done. I'm always having to walk everybody through everything. It's okay if you oopsed and did that. Just correct it moving forward. It's okay to direct them where they need to go. If you have an ambassador who's been around for longer than 60 days, they should know how to go into their back office. They should know how to search in Facebook to find Plexus BioCleanse testimony. They should know how to say Plexus XYZ disease, ProBio. Whatever it may be, they should know how to do that. The other thing that I want to make sure, if you are trying to restart and reignite and you have not already gotten business cards, when we get off this call, I want you to go and order some. They're not very expensive. You can get them off Etsy. You can get them off Vistaprint. You can also get them through our back office. Etsy has an amazing array of different ones. I got 1,000 for $35 when I started. Let me tell you, it lasts a while. But you need to be able to have something to give somebody when you're talking to them about this business. You come in contact with somebody at CVS and you don't have a business card, yeah, maybe you can swap things on Facebook, but they still don't have anything tangible in their hand. And they may have 3,000 friends and never see whatever you post on Facebook, okay? Also, definitely get yourself some Plexus swag. Here's why that's important. It's a conversation starter. What's that Plexus hat? What's Plexus? My husband and I were at dinner once and he was wearing the Men of Plexus sweatshirt or t-shirt. And the funny thing was the person thought it said menopause. And bless my husband who went right into a conversation about how Plexus can help with menopausal symptoms. It's just a conversation you can have. It's a conversation starter, okay? So I talked a little bit about Facebook, and I want to not spend a ton of time on Facebook, but I do want to make sure we talk Facebook do's and don'ts. If you are posting about Facebook or Plexus on Facebook, Facebook has now become a business page for you. Couple of things. You're going to want to go into your back office and read the rules on compliance on what you can and cannot post when you're on your Facebook page. I'm not going to get into a compliance conversation tonight, but definitely make sure you go through that. You also want to make sure that you do not make Facebook your sounding board. Facebook should be, once you're starting your Plexus business, a thing that reflects everything that is about your business. So you don't want to talk about all the terrible foods you eat, not getting good night's sleep, the fact that your brother, sister, girlfriend's friend did you wrong. Don't post that on there. Just like if you were looking up something, let's say about, let's just say a restaurant, your favorite Mexican restaurant, and you're seeing their page and their Mexican restaurant page has all this stuff about how the manager doesn't like the hostess. You're like, what is that? You're not going to want to do business with them. People want to do business with people that they feel personify everything it is about what they're doing. So Plexus is a health and wellness company. Work on making your page about health and wellness. Doesn't have to be always about health and wellness, but definitely don't make it your sounding board about everything that's gone wrong in your life, okay? And the one thing that I do want to make sure for those of you who are newer, don't share posts. And the reason behind that is for those of you who aren't aware of Facebook algorithms, Facebook determines who sees your posts based on likes, comments, and shares, okay? So for instance, if you see a post that I did, which you are more than welcome to borrow, okay? And I say borrow because I don't want you to share them. So a lot of times people see them and they click share. What happens with the algorithms with Facebook when you share, they consider that to be their version of spammy, okay? So they don't allow as many people on your feed to see that post. So what you want to do is if you see something that I post, by all means, again, use it, take the picture, save it to your computer or your phone, copy the text, and post it as your own. And that goes for everybody within Plexus. We are all willing to share our posts. This is one Plexus. We talk about that all the time. I.P.A, for those of you who don't know what that stands for, it's income producing activity. I'm going to say income producing action today, because today we're talking about action. This should happen each and every day. Do you need to do your business all day, every day? Nope. Do you need to fit it into every little nook and cranny you have during your day? Nope. We talk about time and freedom, and that's what Plexus provides. In order to do that, though, you need to spend a little time planning. So if you've got a full-time job like I do, you need to figure out what time of the day you can do your I.P.A. Not scroll through Facebook and look at everybody's pictures, not go and welcome everybody on your team page. I'm talking true income producing activity. This is for you guys. Remember, it's all about you. So your income producing activity / action needs to be 5 people that you are reaching out to daily that you haven't spoken to yet about Plexus. Now, everyone says, I don't know enough people. Well, let me tell you, most of you have over at least 200 friends, so you know a few people, okay? I'm going to encourage you to not ask yourself what I consider to be bad questions. I don't like to say dumb or stupid because I don't believe there are any, but if you ask a bad question, you're going to get a bad answer. So if you ask yourself, why am I always fat, or why can't I lose weight, you're going to get a bad answer. Your brain's going to tell you you're fat because you eat bad food. You eat like crap. You never get up off your butt. You're lazy. Those are bad questions. But if you ask yourself a question of, how can I lose weight? What can I do to make myself healthier? That's a different question. So I want you guys to think about, who do you know? If you think you've run out of people, look again. What activities are you involved in? What activities are your kids involved in? What activities are you involved with your church? Are you involved in those groups on Facebook? Start interacting on Facebook groups. And don't need to go to all the internet garage sale sites. There's so many of Plexus people already on those that you may not necessarily get as big a bang for your buck. But for instance, I have been gluten-free for 2.5 years. So one of the groups that I'm involved in is a couple of gluten-free groups, including a couple of doctors that I follow that wrote books like Grain Brain and things like that. And I go and get actively involved in those, and I've created some great friendships with those individuals. So those are people. Now, when you're reaching out to 5 new people, if you've never met them before, do not come at them about Plexus the first time you talk about them. So if you're in, let's say, a group that has to do with crocheting, talk to them about crocheting. Talk to them about other things you do. Get to know them first. Then you can introduce Plexus. Every day as well, you're going to follow up with 3 people you've already spoken to before. Now, let me tell you, you start following out and reaching out to 5 new people and following up with 3 people, you may find that you follow up with more than 3, okay? You're also going to want to reach out to somebody in your upline or your downline every day. If you don't have a downline yet, reach out to your upline, okay? But as soon as you start to develop a team, every single day you want to reach out to somebody in your downline, okay? Now, the thing is that in the beginning, it's a little scary because you don't know exactly what it is you're supposed to be talking to your downline about. That's when you can reach out to your upline and find out, hey, I'm kind of brand new. How do I follow up? Well, if you've got a brand new ambassador, you're going to want to follow up them every other day at least. You're going to want to make sure that they're happy with the products. You're going to want to make sure they're not having any issues. You're going to want to make sure that their shipping arrived on time. You're going to want to make sure that they don't have any questions, that they've gone ahead and set up their back office, just like you went ahead and did yours. And then last but not least, you need to spend a minimum of 15 minutes every day on learning and or self-improvement. Now, Self-improvement doesn't have to be, something so zen-like where you're going and getting into this metaphysical type of thing where you're trying to figure out how to change your life and miraculously go from one person to the next kind of thought process. Like here I am today, change me by tomorrow. That's not what I'm talking about. But if you are doing something every day to improve upon who you were yesterday, whether it's leadership, whether it's learning about the products, whether it's even just watching a diamond documentary to get yourself inspired and to build your belief, you definitely need to make sure you're doing that. And that goes into the follow-up that we talked about before. You have got to make sure you follow up. You guys heard me talk in the beginning of this call about how I started and what it took to get me on board. Think about this. 48% of salespeople never follow up with a prospect. What if Lisa hadn't followed up with me? What if she took no for an answer? 25% stop after the second. She kept going. 12% after the third. 10 only go beyond 3. 10% of all the Plexus ambassadors will stop following up with someone after 3 contacts. Think about that. The more often you follow up with somebody, and I'm not saying be like a hardcore, crazy person, follow up with them about other things as well. You don't have to just, especially if they're a friend of yours, don't be like Plexus, Plexus, Plexus. You're going to drive them bananas. But you can also follow up, and let me tell you, this works great. They didn't get back to you after you mentioned it, and they were kind of interested. You haven't heard from them in a while. And then you mentioned, oh my gosh, I loved that picture with your baby and the puppy. That was the cutest thing I've ever seen. So cute. Your daughter's adorable. That's all you say. You know what happens? They get guilt. Oh, I didn't follow up with Trish. I'm so sorry I didn't get back to you. I did get the sample. I'm taking it tomorrow. It's sometimes just as simple as just reaching out. The follow-up doesn't have to be hardcore, and it doesn't have to always be Plexus. But if Lisa hadn't continued to follow up, I wouldn't be here. Now, I may have found Plexus later on. It may have fallen in my lap at some point in time, right? But it would have happened a lot later, and I might not be where I'm at. So if you think about it in terms of that person that you just started connecting with in a group, what if that person is your next emerald? What if that person is a diamond? I did a call a while back with Bibi Shadig. She's an Emerald Ambassador as well. And she talks about this exact topic. And her point was she failed to follow up with somebody that could have been her level 1. That person still joined her team because, we all join with friends and family, right? So everybody kind of knows the other people. That person joined her team, and guess what? They were a level 5. So for those of you who haven't figured out pay points yet, your first 3 levels, so if she had signed that person up herself, she would have earned 5 pay points off them. As a level 5, she only earned 3 pay points off of them. It's a big difference. And she doesn't get an override on them. These are files that I want you guys to download. I'm going to add them to the event. I'm going to add them to the groups. They're going to be part of Pink Diamonds. They're also going to be part of Pink Diamond Destiny. Success Plan and the new Ambassador Checklist. We talked a little bit about those earlier on. Memory Jogger. This is to help you guys figure out who you haven't followed up with yet. Who are those 5 new people I'm going to talk about? Oh, crud, I totally forgot about the lady that I met down the street who was telling me that she has arthritis. I need to follow up with her. What was her name? Oh, yeah, Melanie. Oh, my gosh, I totally forgot about the guy at the dry cleaner who was telling me about the fact that he has psoriatic arthritis, and we were talking about X, Y, and Z. Okay, that's one of them. Days of Momentum and Daily Plexus Power Plan are 2 very similar sheets, but they're whichever one works for you. So I'm going to post those for you in the group so you can use them. I want you guys to use these tools to get you to make action every day. And the last one is going to be a customer sheet, and here's what it looks like. This is a customer information sheet. If you don't have these, I would recommend you print as many as you possibly can. The reason behind it is 2 things. How much do you love when, let's say it's, I don't know, say Yogurtland or somewhere that you like, and they send you an email on your birthday, or they send you a special note on your birthday and you get, something, whatever it may be. Maybe you send them a sample of ease or something on their birthday, but at least acknowledge with a handwritten note. You can mark those things down. Information about what's important to them. And then, of course, the information on when you followed up with them. You just hole punch this, you put it in a 3-ring binder, and you're ready to go. Okay? And then I love how it has here, it also has their Facebook name, because sometimes their name is Patricia Howard or Trisha Howard, but I'm known as Trisha Barlow Howard on Facebook. Okay? It just helps you find them easily on Facebook. This is kind of getting towards the end of our call, and the reason I put this towards the end is I really want to emphasize this, you guys. This is really what's going to make the difference. You can have all the action in the world, but if your belief is not full, hear me, if your belief is not through the roof about Plexus products, our business, direct sales, and yourself, no action in the world is going to make you successful. And that might seem a little harsh, but here's why I'm putting this towards the end, and I really want you guys to walk away with this. When someone comes to you with a concern, with an issue, with a shipping problem, if you don't fully, 100% believe in the integrity of Plexus, it's going to come across to your new customer, your new ambassador. If they come to you day one of trying, and I'm going to use an example of my next door neighbor. I gave her a bottle of ProBio because she was having some serious issues and I wanted her to be healthy. I asked her the next day, how you doing? She tells me, oh gosh, I got so sick. That ProBio made me so sick. 2.5 years ago, I would have gone into panic mode, okay? And I probably would have said, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, is she allergic to something in the ProBio? What could it be? And you start doubting. But I don't doubt anymore because I filled my belief bucket really, really full. And I went back to her and I said, wow, that doesn't sound normal at all. You only took one, right? Like we talked about. And she's, because I'm thinking, God, maybe she was crazy and took 4 or something. You never know. And she said, no, I took 1. And I said, okay, then I feel comfortable in telling you it wasn't the ProBio. But I can tell you, it could have had something to do with that really amazing fried food you had at the fair today. And it's not about being rude or disrespectful. It's about being honest and having confidence in what it is we sell and what it is we're sharing. The ProBio wasn't the problem, but it's real easy for somebody who's questioning whether or not they have a belief. They're looking to you to help begin to build their belief. So your belief needs to be there. So if you don't have a strong enough belief in the Plexus products, you need to learn about them. I would recommend going back, go to my YouTube channel. There is a belief video that I did with Brittany Howard. She's another Emerald ambassador. She talks about the different ingredients in our products. Go back, watch that. It's what changed her and brought her from a silver to an emerald in 1 year after being off of the business for an entire year. Okay, she came back after building that belief. Belief in Plexus worldwide, belief in this company. Tarl and Alec and the executives in this company are the most integrity-filled individuals I have ever had the pleasure of knowing in business. For those of you who don't know what my background is, I run a staffing agency for accounting and finance. I've been a vice president of a small staffing firm. I had 8 offices in 4 states. I've had the pleasure of staffing for the majority of the Fortune 100 companies throughout my career. That means I have gone in and consulted with some of the top people and watched them grow sometimes from a small company to a big company and watch those growing pains happen. The growing pains that have happened with Plexus that we have watched have been amazing to watch. And from some of your perspectives, they've been scary. You've thought to yourself, oh my gosh, the back office, oh my gosh, shipping issues. Let me tell you, I've had issues where companies' entire database stopped working for an entire week. That didn't happen with Plexus. Let me tell you, I had times where business stopped, product didn't go out from my companies I was staffing for. My candidates were sent home because there was no work. That didn't happen with Plexus. I've watched businesses go through a huge growth spurt and owners of the company, executives sit and idly stand by and point fingers as to what should have happened. Didn't happen with Plexus. Tara and Alex showed up at work. They showed up on the weekends. They stayed late at night. They will never stop fighting for you guys. The one thing that they said at convention that has stuck with me is they're never going to do anything for Plexus that's only good for corporate and not good for the ambassadors. And they're never going to do anything for the ambassadors that's not good for Plexus corporate. Have faith in that. Have faith in that. Have belief in that. You also need to have a belief in direct sales. If you don't have that belief in direct sales, it's going to be hard when somebody comes at you and tells you you're a pyramid scheme, right? You need to know we're not a pyramid scheme. You need to know why we're not a pyramid scheme. I recommend that you follow some of the top people in direct sales outside of Plexus just to get yourself excited and following about what happens in this business and why direct sales is so important. You hear people like Donald Trump talking about why if he had to start his career over again and he lost all his millions, he'd started in direct sales. You need to follow people like Eric Worre. You need to follow Sarah Robbins. You need to follow Les Brown. These are people I want you guys to look up and I want you to follow them. And I want you to have belief in yourself. This goes back to those 15 minutes every day that you guys are going to focus on building belief in yourself. That's what that self-improvement is. Because if you have belief in yourself, no problem that comes your way is going to side rail you, derail you, take you off your path. But you have to have 100% belief in yourself. There's a book that I want you guys to all look at. It's a book called The 4 Agreements. And the reason I love this book, in fact, I think I bought it for a couple of you on my team. You need to be impeccable with your words. That's the first agreement. Here's why that's important. Don't sugarcoat. If you're talking to a potential ambassador, don't mislead them. Be truthful. Have 100% transparency. It makes it so much easier, okay? Don't take anything personally. That's the second agreement. That is huge in our business. Huge. You're dealing with friends, family, and loved ones. It is so easy for us to take something personally. Nothing others do is because of you. It's something that's going on with them. The sooner you can start to absorb that into your life and to start moving forward with that, it's going to be huge for you. Don't make assumptions. Don't assume that whatever happened was for a specific reason. Ask questions. If someone says no to you, don't assume the reason they said no to you. If someone has a problem, don't assume the problem. Ask questions. That's probably the biggest problem the majority of us on this call, and it's my problem too, I'm just as bad. We want to talk. We don't want to ask questions and then shut up and listen. And then listen to what they tell you, ask another question. The more information you can gather from your ambassadors, your customers, potential people that you meet, the better you can answer them, the better you can find a solution for them. And last but not least, always do your best. I think that kind of goes without saying, but I think a lot of times we forget about that. John Wooden is one of my favorite coaches to follow. For those of you who don't know who he was one of the winningest coaches in NCAA basketball history. He was the coach for UCLA. He won 5 consecutive NCAA championships. It's unheard of. He did 2 things that were super important. I want you guys to walk away with both of them. 1, he had his team practice the same thing day in, day out, hundreds, thousands of times, so that when the clinch moment came, they could take that shot and swoosh. Free throws, 3-point shots, whatever their shot was, they practiced it. Your practice needs to be your 5-3-1-1. Your practice needs to be your quick elevator speech. If you're not familiar with that term, that's what you say to someone when they ask you what you do. You need to have a 30-second Plexus elevator speech. Someone's sitting in the elevator with you, they say, whoa, I like that Plexus shirt. What do you do? What's Plexus? You need to have that prepared. Have you written it down? Nobody wants you to read it, but you need to practice it. It's not going to come upon you. These things that people do, the things you hear people say, the calls that you watch of diamonds, they didn't get there by wishing. They got there by practicing. They got there by doing. and they got there by following through. So I want you guys to practice that shot. I want you to practice your 5-3-1-1. I want you to practice your elevator speech. I want you to put together 30 seconds of what Plexus is. Make it concise. Don't make it all mumbo jumbo that somebody's gonna be like, I have no idea what you just said. It was so over my head, right? You gotta catch somebody's interest. If you're not sure if it catches somebody's interest, go to your upline. Hey, I listened to this call that Trisha Howard did, and I thought about putting together my 30-second elevator speech. Can I read it to you? Do you mind if I leave you a voice message? Tell me what you think. That's what we're here for, okay? Second thing that John Wooden talks about that I love. It's not whether you have the most points at the end of a game that determines whether or not you're a winner or you're a loser. But it's if at the end of that game, you walk off that court knowing that you gave it every little bit you had. So for those of you on this call, when you finish your day, did you give it everything you had? Every day is going to be different. You could be really sick. You could have a lot going on. You may have given it every little bit you had today. But maybe today was a great day. Maybe today you really felt like, you know what? There's a marathon of the Real Housewives of Orange County on. I want to watch it. It's not giving it your best. Probably could have, maybe DVR'd it, watched it later after you got your 5-3-1-1 done. You need to go to bed every night knowing that you put it all out there on the court. That you may not have gotten a new ambassador today. You may not have gotten a customer, but by gosh, you did anything and everything you possibly could have done today to make that happen. It's the difference between those that are making it and those who aren't. Those who are making it may not make it every single day. Oh, let me tell you, there's some people that are on this call that had a rough couple of months. But let me tell you, if you were to ask me who the hardest workers were on my team, I know exactly who they are. They did what I'm talking about every single day. And maybe it didn't happen yet, but it's gonna. And that's what you guys need to remember. You need to do what you need to do every single day, even if the result isn't what you wanted at the end of the day. But you're not going to get anywhere if you only do it some of the time, or if you don't follow up. If you didn't reach back out, it's not going to happen. And I know some of you are probably, hoping that you guys are going to come away from this call with maybe some word tracks. We'll be doing some of those later. I've got a few of those on my YouTube channel. You're more than welcome to watch them. But this was my call to action for you guys. This is to reignite you. This isn't to teach you what you can easily find somewhere else on Facebook, on YouTube, in a book. I wanted to get you guys pumped up and excited to get out there and stop feeling sorry for yourself. Stop singing that little pity party. Don't go getting the balloons and the cake for the pity party about woe is me, nobody wants to buy from me. It's not going to get you anywhere. It's okay to call your upline and say, hey, I need some support. I'm struggling today. It's been a bad day. I've managed salespeople all 20 years I've been in business. We all have crappy days. Every single one of us. Celeste Gwynn has bad days. She doesn't post them on Facebook, but she has them. We all do. We all have days when nothing goes right. Difference is, we wake up the next morning, we get right back at it. That's what you guys have to do. You guys got to get right back at it. Do not allow yourself to become complacent. Do not allow yourself to fall into the pit of despair. You need to pull yourself out of that. You need to find what it is inside of you that's going to get you to that next level. It's not your upline's responsibility to pump you up every day. It's not your power partners. And it's certainly not your team's responsibility to make you feel good about yourself. It's yours. That decision is you. So I'm going to peek really quick at the chat. We've got quite a few things going up there. Okay, I just want to make sure. Okay, making sure there is. Okay, all righty. I think that is it. All right, we didn't even have any questions. So I'm going to go ahead and end this call for you guys tonight. I want to thank you guys for being on this call, because it says a lot that you took time out of your day, your evening, to be here with me today, to be here with all of us, to take some notes. My dog just came in, so he's sniffing down behind me. But I'm really excited that you guys participated in this call today. I want you guys to share this with your teams. I want you guys to take from this call what action you're going to do. You're going to put one of these forms into place. You're going to put down your plan. You're going to figure out what time you're going to spend doing your business. It doesn't matter if it's only 15 minutes or 30 minutes a day that you do your 5-3-1-1. Just get it done. Do not go and sit yourself in front of that TV and get disillusioned with whatever else is happening in the world until you've taken care of it. Okay? I want to see you all in Kona with me next year. And I don't want it to be because I have to bring your picture on a stick like my team's having to do to me because I couldn't get the time off from work this year. Okay? You guys have an amazing evening, and I'll talk with you all soon. Love you all.